Well, how's everybody doing today? Back in our shop today and work on the wagon a little bit. Maybe a little update on the wagon. We've been doing some work. Been working on the metal on this thing, getting it, solid. We had patched in the back and secured those quarter panels, so that got done. I've also been working on the doors a little bit. I rolled some skim pieces and cut the doors out and welded that up. And I'll just let you guys see for yourself here what's going on. So here's the back section now. Looks real good. I'm pleased. Get over here where you can see a little better. It's all metal again, and as you can see, this quarter panel's good and tight. It's secured. This side, same. Got all this welded up now. Had to cut this section out, reform it, relip it on the bottom. And you probably can't see in there. I'll have to get a flashlight for you to see in there. But ended up having to remake that inner fender piece, put some light on it. Yeah, so you can see that. That's all been remade now, re-welded in. That's one reason that the fender on this side was flopping around. But now that that's fixed, you can see that the fender's good and secure, or that quarter panel is good and secure and tight. So we've got that. I got in here and remade this window track. Pretty good section of it is all new now, and a piece on the inner wall right here, all this is new metal, so that's all fixed. And that's a pretty good chunk. Right here's the door, where this is all new. Right here, this section, you can see it's where new metal's been ground off after grinding the welds. It's ready for Bondo. That was a smaller section in that door than over here on the driver's door. This driver's door, the whole bottom section from right here to down here is all new metal all the way across. And you can see what that looks like. We rolled a piece for that and welded it in. Over here at the windshield, this piece right here, this was all made and welded in. All this was rotted out. You can see I've still got some grind work on some of these welds and off in here. That looks really good right there. So we took care of that. So the car is getting solid now, the body wise. Today on this video we're going to work on one of the other sections that has quite a bit of rust, and that is inside the door right here, this piece here. And as you can see, it's not a very big piece, but it's eat up. This down in here, we can't patch that. So the quickest, easiest solution here is to mark this out and cut it out, maybe from corner to corner, clean this up, weld in a new piece of metal here. This should be a pretty easy piece because we only have this one bend right here. So that shouldn't be too terribly bad. Obviously the the rocker panels rather are still in the car, so we're going to have to do something with those, and the tail pan here, this piece, we're going to replace it, and I'm going to replace the rockers new. Really, for what they cost, you waste more time trying to repair those than just you know, replace them. Oh, also, I'm going to order a trans tunnel for this thing too when I get that order in for the metal for the rockers and the tail pan. I'm going to order that trans tunnel because, as you can see, there is no trans tunnel. The guy had this car before. I guess he cut it out, anticipating putting in a, I don't know what he was doing when he cut it out, to be honest with you. I don't know if he cut it out. So it's gone. We didn't get it. So we'll have to replace it. So as far as new metal goes, we're going to order a trans tunnel. We're going to order rockers and a tail pan. Aside of fixing that piece, probably the next biggest thing that needs to be done is the gas tank filler, which you can see I've got laying here in the back of the car. I had to take this out. One, to fix the inner quarter panel. I had to do that. So I went ahead and removed this piece, and as you can see, I just drilled out the spot welds. I'm going to clean this up, paint it, clean the inside of it out, so when we put our new tank and stuff in, we don't have any chance of debris. And then I've got to spot weld it back in the taillight hole. But for today, I'm just going to focus on getting this piece right here. It's nasty weather outside. It's been raining here for, you know, a few days now. Still raining. Sick of rain. Yeah, I feel pretty good about today if we can just get that one section there put in. That will pretty much tie up all the body work, well, as far as welding work on the cab of this car. Going out of that, we've still got the tailgates and the rear hatches that need work. And right here, this tailgate here, we've got for the hinges. Big thanks to Hot Rod Ted for bringing that over and donating that. And right here is the original tailgate for the wagon. And I rolled this piece. Actually, that's what was, I rolled a piece for that driver's door and cut that piece out, and this is what was left over. So that's what will, the gap is, or the roll is almost dead on for this tailgate. And as you can see, let me get it out of the way, this tailgate, she's eat up pretty good. And I just don't, I mean, these are smaller holes obviously, but there's so many of them across there. I just feel like we could weld in a new skin and it will probably be quicker. Right here is the rear hatch. This is the original one right here for the car. As you can see, we're working on it. And the one behind it is just kind of for some parts. Again, big thanks to Hot Rod Ted for donating that off of some extra parts he had on one of his wagon builds a while back. Big thanks to him, and also a big thanks to the voice of knowledge who came over and really helped us with this piece. He actually helped me get this thing together in one day, because this is actually 3 pieces. This top piece is 1 piece, this shaped outer piece is 1 piece, and this bottom lip is 1 piece. Very complicated. So a big thanks to him for coming over and spending the day and helping us knock that out. So yeah, that's where we're at with the wagon right now. Oh, while I'm on the subject of updating current builds, let's talk about the Bronco, which you see is not in here. The motor for the Bronco is still at the machine shop. probably got delayed due to the snow we had here a week or so ago. Kind of shut the place down for a week. So here's all the parts for the Bronco engine, and I've got them all put up here ready to go when we get the parts back from machine shop. You know, when that motor comes back, you know, we'll get it on the stand, and yeah, we'll get it on the stand, we'll get it put together. I don't foresee that being a huge deal. The motor go back in it. I'm hoping maybe like three weekends, or maybe 4, we can have the motor back in, have it started, and be finishing it up. Outside of the motor just needs a refresh, a revamp on the interior, and we need to sand that truck down. I put a little body filler back there where those holes were that we patched, and paint it. And that one's done. We'll be driving it. So with that being said, there's all the updates out of the way, and that's where we are currently. It brings us up to now where we're going to start on that piece right there. So without further ado, let's jump on it, see what we can do. Okay, so I've got the piece out now that I want to replace, and I got to get this screw right here out of here. You can kind of see it's pretty rusty off in there. Trying to shine a little light, maybe you guys can see a little better, but yeah, it's kind of rusty in there. I've got that piece cut out now here, kind of cleaned the edges up around where my welds are going to be. I'll take this screw out. I'm going to treat all this inside here with rust prohibitor, rust stop rust, rust kill. I can't remember what that stuff's called now, but I got a gallon of it in a spray bottle, and we're going to load this up, and it'll do its thing and just dry in there, and it'll kill all that rust and turn it black. Now, this is a little more than just a flat piece with a small curve at the end of it. This piece, if you can see right here, there's a seam right here. So this piece, it'll weld here, but when we get here, we can't just go up through here and weld it. It needs to be rolled over the edge, and it needs to have a lip on it and kind of, you know, inset in there. So right here's what I got. I've got some, this is the piece that came out, and you can see the decay. So this is 18 gauge sheet metal like we're always using on this car, and I'm going to come over a little bit here. I'm going to cut this piece out. I'm going to put it in my vise and probably shape that edge, so when it goes in there, it'll sit in there right, and it'll be rolled right, and we can tack it in, and it should be good. So let me go ahead and mark this out, and I'll put it in the vise and mark a line for my rollover edge, and then we'll hammer it out and then cut this piece to size, and then we'll see how it fits in there. Of course, we'll have to do some trimming once we get that far. When we get it over here actually putting it in, we'll have to do some trimming on it, but that'll be good. So let me get that far. I'll do that, and I'll show you a little bit of making that lip, how I make it. Just basic body hammers, hand tools, vise, you know, whatever I can find a flat edge to roll that over, and we'll go from there. So let me get that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got the piece cut, and I've got it clamped to this pretty good size piece of metal right here, and I'm going to get down here close so you can see. I put a little score on here, and what I'm going to do is this plate right here, I really don't need much more lip than this plate, but it's a good straight edge to pound that lip in there on. So that's what I anticipate on doing right now, is pounding that lip in there with just a basic body hammer. And I mean, basically just turn my plate around here and just start shaking it through this plate. Get it down flat. And that's pretty much all there is to that. That's a pretty easy thing to do right there. And this is something, you know, you can find some stuff at home to do it, and it's really easy to shape your sheet metal like this. So it's a pretty good turn on that. So yeah, this score right here where I scored my line, it's not very deep. You can see right here, if I can get the camera to focus on it, but it's not very deep. And I mean, if I put it in there, a lot of times I'll go back, I'll either put a spot weld in here, or I'll spot weld down through here a little bit to strengthen this back up, and then just grind it off smooth. And I mean, that typically works really good. So now we'll have to put a relief cut in here. Let me show you the original piece. Here's the original piece we cut out of the car, and you can see how much of a turn right here. We've got to put that into this piece. So I'm going to put a couple of relief cuts down in here, and then I'll probably bend it right over the curve of that vise right there. So let me start on that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so as you can see right here, I put my relief cut in there, and I just basically bent a little shape into it. I didn't have to do much hammering to it at all. So now that the piece is actually formed the way that it should be, we'll start fitting it, you know, inside the car. So let's start with that, and then once I get her fitted in, I'll show you what this actually looks like inside the car before welding it. Alright, we've got that piece cut into shape, and it is tack welded in. So I'm going to show you the edge right here. There was a couple of spot weld holes here from original, where it was originally put in, one here and one here. We drilled those out, so he's going to weld in those two spot weld holes, and then we're going to finish welding this piece in. And you can see how tight those gaps are. You want to get those gaps as tight as you can, so when it sands off, it looks, you know, one piece of metal again and not two. So I'm going to let him jump in there, and he's going to tack weld those two in. And two, you know, with this, you don't want to be hammering on this with a welder, because you will warp that metal really fast. I mean, it warps quicker than what you think. So he's just going to buzz two tacks on there. We're going to let that cool off, and then go in there and weld up the rest of it and grind it down, see what we got. Alright, there's one. You really want to get in and get out on these things with this sheet metal, because it will warp up. Let's see what you got. Oh yeah, two good tacks there, and these tacks right here are decent, and we're just going to sew this thing up now. We'll get it sewed up, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like sewed up, and then we'll grind it off. Alright, we got that in, welded in and grinded off, and as you can see right here, she's really good. Really pleased with this right here. May put just a smidge of filler in there just to make sure it's good and straight before we paint it, but I mean, that's hard to beat. I like it. So that will wrap us up for this time, and that right there was the last piece, big piece that was rusted out. So now we are just about ready to start Bondo on the initial body right here, and we're going to do the metal work on that tailgate. Probably jump on it next time. I'll go ahead and run the paint off, and then that way we can skin it and the back hatch, get these parts ordered, and move right along with this thing right here. So until next time, y'all like, share, subscribe. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next time on the 56.